With popular culture outlets, I am in a perpetual state of, um, first of all, wanting to be appraised, wanting to be aware, wanting to appraise myself and to be aware of what's going on, what the culture is like, and there's some, and there are, believe it or not, there are a lot of things that you can find on. I'm just gonna single out Instagram here. There are lots of very funny posts on Instagram. Um, there are Instagram comedians who are funny. Um, there are funny and insightful uh, commentators on the current situation, and there's an awful lot of people out there with forbidden opinions making their feelings known in somewhat great numbers. Now I know that those kinds of videos probably skew to me because uh, I guess they end up sending you things that are similar to the things that you view. Uh, but I would also say that a lot of, when I see things contrary, there, uh, um, this is especially true of like corporate feminist uh, kinds of posts. You know, Snow White, for example, got viciously downvoted. The previews for the failed new quote unquote girl boss version of Snow White, much hated on, much loathed, much reviled, probably for good reason. I haven't seen it, so I can't actually. To be fair, I can't say for sure, but I'm still 99% sure, if not more so, that it's fully deserved. So even the sort of contrary pieces, and sometimes there are things that wind up on my feed when I'm scrolling, and yes, I end up scrolling, and that's a problem. I think it's a problem on, well, for the time that I was on TikTok, it was there was uh, enough that finally got me to say no to TikTok. That made me deactivate TikTok. And part of it was that I just never really, uh, my Gen X brain could not could not wrap itself around just exactly how you're supposed to post. How you're supposed to make posts, and the few posts that I made, I didn't get much of an audience for. Like nobody was seeing them for whatever reason. The same happens to me on Twitter slash X. Even now, even post Musk purchased Twitter, which is now X. It's the same kind of deal. I for whatever reason, I can't. I just never have been able to get a following there. And supposedly on Twitter and on TikTok, you can just get on, hop on board and get a ton of people to like there are just normal people who get tens of thousands of views and get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of fans or followers or whatever. But it just couldn't work for me. But Instagram. Uh, so getting back to the scrolling thing, when I do find myself scrolling, um, I uh, come across, I often come across these, feminist videos put out by feminists, and when I go to the comment section, they're getting much hated on as well. Not entirely, but there's a sizable contingent who uh, who comes to these videos and who finds their way to these videos. You think that it would just be an echo chamber. You would think that videos like that would only find the those in agreement, saying, "Right on, sister, down with the patriarchy," or whatever. But there's lots of angry, angry guys, or just wittily, uh, deprecating or wittily caustic guys commenting on these kinds of videos, and um, but there's still something about it all that just even like the I think that hate watching is not a good thing to do. I think the only good kind of hate watch is if you're watching is if you are watching something that you hate with friends and you're all making fun of it together and you're having fun doing it, and it's like a positive bonding experience. Uh, then I think it can be a positive or a good thing. But I think if you're just hate watching things on your own and hate commenting things, that's just not you start to feel you know you feel like you're being pulled in to this maelstrom, this hateful maelstrom, where it's just like you're at each other's throats, and uh, the whole idea is to say something that's going to make someone else, you know, to come across as glib and snotty and but also clever and caustic, ideally. But even if you just read a glib and snotty comment that's not clever at all, it's still, it still, gets you angry for whatever reason. Especially if they've got laughing emojis and it's not funny, you know. Uh, there's something in all of that, in that kind of exchange. It's not good, and I say that as someone who's been sucked in, you know, a time or two. But I think that's something to be avoided, and I normally am able to steward myself uh, carefully or fairly carefully, but I still indulge to this kind of uh, you know this kind of proclivity way too often, I think, and it's not a good thing. So one thing about Instagram, and I guess this would apply to TikTok, and really it applies to uh, any medium with a visual component, but especially Instagram and TikTok, because they're if you're posting something, it's like it's easier, it's set up so that you can kind of put on a show, uh, and you can choose a filter, and you can like have a song that plays in the background, or that you're lip syncing to, or whatever. And if you're a young woman, and you're pretty, but you also want validation, for being pretty, you know it's like, my god, they're everywhere, they're everywhere. um um and I think they show up on my feed because I end up clicking on them sometimes. It's like it's obviously a lower vibrational sort of thing. and I'm well past my, as I've said before, as I've said in the past, I'm well past my time of extreme horniness. Uh, I really don't have the same kind of drive that I used to, and that's mostly a good thing. Since since I've already done my part. I mean, I've reproduced, and you know uh, I'm uh, anyway. I won't go into all of that right now, but still, uh, I'm a red blooded American male, and so you end up clicking on cute girls sometimes, or cute women, cute young women, not like underage girls, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, I know some of you want to twist my words, so that's why I'm clarifying. Um, and so there's an awful lot of that, an awful lot of that, uh, uh, to a much greater extent than you see men, you know, posing and preening, or showing off outfits, and twirling and kicking their legs up, kicking their feet up, uh, and you know, posing and being cute, and all of that sort of thing. Um, yeah. So, but I just want to. I'm. I might just say. I might just. I might just delete the app. Um, because uh, I don't know if, like, the ways in which I'm using it to be creative, to my limited audience. Um, I don't know if it's fun, and it's all of that is like, I've got the same. I was a theater kid myself, and so I know what it's like to want to be seen, and to want to perform, and because I was like that, and I'm still like that, to a degree. Uh, you never told if that's your if that's part of your personality, then that's just who you are, uh, and you don't ever lose that. I don't think you either are or you aren't. There are people who like to be seen, uh, and who like to perform in front of others, uh, who are born performers, and there are people who aren't, who are shy and retiring, and who just that holds no appeal whatsoever for. My father is very much like the latter. So, although he taught, and still, he's retired, but he still teaches. So in that sense, he did enjoy performing. But as far as just wanting to be seen, or wanting to you know wanting to perform in the sense that an actor wants to perform, or that a performance artist of some kind wants to perform. Um, an actor, a singer, whatever, somebody along those lines. I am that way, but my father very much is not that way. So, and I have friends who similarly like to be seen, others who don't. I think, yeah, like I said, you're either that way or you aren't that way. But there are a lot of young women who want to be validated. Uh, they know that they're pretty, but they still want to be validated for it. It's not that they're not out there looking for a boyfriend. I mean, that's obviously not the case. They are looking for simps. They're looking for people to to pant after them, so that they can act all annoyed, you know, um, and and say, "Oh, the male gaze is so oppressive," which I think it's mostly the women who talk that way. It's mostly bullshit. I will hazard to say. Um, I'm sure that for some, it's some don't like to be seen, or I get how you don't want to just be ogled all the time, or have just feel like people are checking you out everywhere. I get how that could be um, unpleasant. Anyway, a little all over the place here. And yes, this is another longer form video. And I know some of you say you like my longer form videos. This is a little more rambly than most. Let me get to the point though. All right, at 1630 and change. Um, there was one video that just really ticked me off, really bothered me. I'm going to describe it. I'm going to describe it for y'all. This was a video. There are some videos that are made by couples, and I think in most cases it's the girl who's usually the driving force, and the guy's just playing along or being a good sport or whatever. Um, uh, but often these relationship videos are just um, not not relationship affirming. Let me describe this one for you that really annoyed me. It begins with this young woman, uh, looking kind of um, sad, or maybe just kind of annoyed, and the caption is going to tell my boyfriend about my problems. That's the caption. It's like, oh boy, don't you just want to be that boyfriend? Like, oh, oh, let me tell you about my problems. I don't think she's aware of how it comes across that way. But um, I think she's wanting it to be like, she's wanting to sound sympathetic, and not to sound uh, like someone who's just naggy or bitchy or whatever. But that's what the caption. That's how it actually reads. I think certainly to men, that's how it reads, and any woman who's perceptive would see that clear subtext uh, as well. So it begins with her, with that caption, a picture of her, and then she sees her boyfriend across the room. He's on. He's looking at his laptop, and then he's barefoot, and he puts on one sock. He puts a sock on his right foot, and then he puts his other sock also on his right foot, and then he gets up, and he's like, he's patting the table, patting everything around him, um, and looking around like, what did I do with my other sock? Where did it go? I've only got socks are only covering one of my feet. Uh, so there must be another sock out there somewhere. But and it's like, ha ha ha, men are so stupid, ha ha ha. It like if this was if this was being done in a way that was sort of uh, generously spirited, if it was like, oh, the absent-minded professor being absent-minded, isn't he cute? But this is like, boy, this guy's a dunce. Oh man, what an idiot. And it's very mean spirited in tone. And I thought that, and it ends up being even worse than it had seemed like it was going to be, because I thought the direction that it was going to go was, I thought it would cut back to the girl, and she would be laughing. She'd walk into the room laughing, and it's like, oh, watching my stupid boyfriend's antics made me not made me forget about my troubles, and that was supposed to be cute and heartfelt, uh, but it was still annoying because it was like it was very clearly, and it's not like again, it's not like I'm against uh, men being made fun of. It was just this subtext of cruelty, I thought, or mean spiritedness. But the way it ends is even worse. When it so the clueless guy who put two socks on the same foot is, um still, it's just going around, like, really just looking mystified. His antics have been pictured for like about a minute, I think, about a minute long. And then we cut back to the girl, on the other side of the room, who he's not aware that she sees him. And she rolls her eyes and says, "Never mind," and walks back down the hall. And so the ending is even worse. It's like the mean spiritedness that I thought it was trying to smuggle in and conceal as cute, right? I thought it was just going to be, oh, the guy's a dunce, make the guy the butt of the joke, but she's going to laugh at him and then come up and give him a hug or something, and just it would just be sort of condescending. Uh, oh, you're so cute. You made me forget about my problems with all your stupid antics. But instead, it's like she looks at him and she's just uh, contemptuous. She sees his antics and she's not even amused. She's like, oh man, he can't even put two socks on. He can't even take two socks, put one on one foot and one on the other foot. How is talking about my problems to him gonna help? You know, uh, you know, God, God, I despise him. And she walks away looking bitchier than she was even at the start of the video. And it was just like, I, I don't know. This is a couple. This is like a couple making videos, and it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be cute. It's just it just filled me with despair. Um, I mean, I know that sounds dramatic. Maybe it is. It's just, for me, this is the worst of social. This is what social media brings out in people in a nutshell. I mean, you want to talk about hostility between the sexes being stoked. Uh, so it's even worse now, especially among younger men and younger women. Um, you know, uh, that was it. I just had it. That made me. that made me decide wanted. I almost just deleted my my Instagram app then and there, but I didn't. So we'll see what happens in the future.